Hello, this is Mr. Stansbury. I'm going to take you through the 15A assignment. Okay, so first one, which of the following statements are propositions? And if they are propositions, are they true, false, or indeterminate? Okay, so remember, proposition is something that you can answer as true or false, and it cannot be an opinion. Okay? So let's start with the first one. 11 minus 5 equals 7. So that would be a proposition because we can answer that as true or false. And 11 minus 5 is 6. 6 does not equal 7, so this would be false. Okay. B, 12 is an element of the odd numbers. That is also a proposition because you can answer that true or false. 12 is not an element of the odd numbers, so this would also be false. Okay, 3/4 is an element of the rational numbers, so that's a proposition. So we can answer it true or false, and it is not. 3/4 is an element of the rational numbers, so that is actually true. All right, moving on to the next one, number 2. For each of the following, write down the negation and then indicate the statement, or indicate if the statement or its negation is true. Okay, so A. So the negation of that would be not all rectangles are parallelograms. Okay, so not all rectangles are parallelograms. That's the negation, and then it says indicate if the statement or the negation is true. So all rectangles are parallelograms, so that means the statement is true. Okay, statement is true. All right, for B, square root of 5 is an irrational number. So our negation would be square root of 5 is not an irrational number. Okay? So root 5 is irrational. So that means, again, that the statement is true. Okay. On to number 3. What is the negation of these statements for x is an element of the real numbers? So the way you can think of these is basically what's the opposite of x is less than 5? The opposite of that is going to be x is greater than or equal to 5. So basically you're just going to switch the sign around, and if it has the underline, then you're going to get rid of it. If it doesn't have the underline, we're going to put the underline on it. Okay? So B is going to be x is less than 3. All right, number 4. Two propositions R and S are given. Is S the negation of R? And if S is not the negation of R, give a reason why this is so. Okay. So for A, we got Bick scored more than 60% is R. And then S, Bick scored less than 60%. Okay. So is S the negation of R? It's really close, except for it doesn't actually include the 60%. So if this were to say Bick scored less than or equal to 60, then that would be the negation. But it's not. So is S the negation of R? No. And if S is not the negation of R, give a reason why this is so. And again, he could have scored exactly 60%. Okay. B. We've got, let's see, John is at soccer practice. And then the negation they're saying is John is at music practice. So this one we would also go with no, because John could be home taking a nap instead, right? Just because he's not at soccer practice doesn't mean for sure he has to be at music practice. All right. The next one, that would be number 6. Where possible, try to avoid using the word not in writing the negations of these things here. So A, P, the pro football team won its game. So then we'd have to go with the negation is the team lost or tied. Okay. All right. B, she has less than 2 sisters. So then I guess we could say that she has 2 or more sisters is what we would want to write on that one. Okay. At the next one, number 7, find the negation of the following. So for A, x is greater than or equal to 5 for x being an element of the positive integers. So if x is greater than or equal to 5, then really the negation is going to be x is less than 5. So we can, and that's all the integers that are positive, so then we can actually just write those all out. Okay, so we really could just write the set in there, which would be 1, 2, 3, and 4. We could also write that. Okay. B, x is a cow, for x is an element of horses, sheep, cows, goats, and deer. So if we're going to do the negation of that, x is not a cow, right? That would be one way to write it. Or we could also just write what? Horses, sheep, goats, and deer. Okay, I'm going to stick with just x is not a cow. That seems to be the probably the easiest way, because would it be horses, sheep, goats, or deer, or horses, sheep, goats, and deer? Combination of all those. X is not a cow is probably going to be our best bet. All right, moving along. Let's see. Number 1, find the true sets of these statements. X is a multiple of 3, and x is between 20 and 30. So really here we're just looking for what is the true sets, or just what the answers are going to be here, right? So for A, part 1, the multiple of 3 that's between 20 and 30 is going to be 21, 24, 27. Since it says between 20 and 30, it's not going to actually include 30. If it was between 20 and 30 inclusive, then we could include 30, but it does not say that. So 21, 24, and 27 is going to be set X. Part 2 on this one here, X is an even number where X is greater than 1 but less than or equal to 10. So then X is going to have to be 2, 4, 6, 8, and it's less than or equal to 10, so we can actually include 10 in this. Okay. And then part 3, x is a factor of 42, so we just want to come up with all the factors of 42. So we got 1 and, let's say, 42. We've got 2 and what, 21. And then we have 3 and, let's see, 3 and what's that going to be, 13? Does that give all of them, I hope? That is not 13, sorry, that's going to be 14. And then we also have 6 and 7 will be in there. So I'm going to repair this, make this look a little bit nicer. Okay, there, that one looks better. Okay, so part B is to draw Venn diagrams to represent parts 1 and 2. Okay, so Venn diagram means draw ourselves a nice big box, and then we're going to have some circles or so in there. Okay, so this is going to be the U for universal set. So this is going to be everything between 20 and 30. And then so inside of X here, we're going to put all the multiples of 3 that are between 20 and 30. So there's our 21, and we don't even have to use commas, 24, 27. And then we're going to put all the other numbers that are not X, so we'll call that X prime, that all the numbers that are going to be between 20 and 30. And we're going to have to assume that's just the integers, even though they didn't say. So that would be what, 22, 23, 25, 26, 28, and 29. Okay, so that would be, okay. Number 2, if U, the universal set, is students in year 11, and M is the students who study music, O is the students who play in the orchestra, draw a Venn diagram to represent the statements. Okay, so the first one's going to be all music students play in the school orchestra. So if we're going to draw that out, make our little Venn diagram here. So this is our universal set, which is all the students in year 11. So we've got all the music students play in the school orchestra. So that means that we're going to have one circle inside the other. And this inner circle is going to be the music students because every music student plays in the orchestra. So this here is going to have to be O for the orchestra kids. So all the so if you're a music student, you play in the orchestra. Just because you're in the orchestra doesn't mean that you're a music student, according to this here. Okay, so outside here would be basically all of the non orchestra and music kids. Okay, but we can just leave it like that. All right. Okay, so this one we've got none of the orchestral students study music. So on this one here, we've got orchestral students, none of them study music. So all the orchestra kids would be here, and then all the music students are going to have to be here because they do not, none of the orchestra students are studying music. Last problem, number 3. Represent U, the universal set, and P on a Venn diagram, and then list the truth set of not P. Okay? All right, so let's do that one. So let's make our Venn diagram here for A. Okay, so universal set, so it's going to be all of the natural numbers between 15 and 5, but not including 15 or 5. And then P is going to be the things that are less than 9. So let's make this circle here P. And then the numbers that are less than 9 that are going to be greater than 5 are going to have to be what? 6, 7, and 8. Okay. So then that means so that means here's P, and this is the universal set. Let's write that as just capital U. And then, so that means all the rest of them, we would want to include all the rest of them. So we've got 6, 7, 8 covered, so we need 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, and 14 are going to be out here in the not P, or the P prime. Okay? So, nice part about this is list the truth set of not P, and we just figured out what not P is. So we would just list that off as 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, and 14. Okay? And we would just list that as the set of numbers, and we can go P prime equals that. Okay, so there's A.